This video, I'm going to show you 3 steps for creating very niche skill tests for hard to fill roles. And one of the challenges in the marketplace is anytime you got a very technical position or some very specialized role where there's really not that many people in the industry, there's not a marketplace for us to create tests for those very specific skill sets. There's just not a big enough demand. With AI, we're going to completely change that. And what we're doing inside the Discover platform is our human hiring coaches, they're creating custom skill-based tests for some of the hardest, most specific roles that you can imagine. And we're doing that using AI. Now, once we've got the test created, it's pretty easy. Discover just delivers, grades that test, and then sends the results back to the hiring managers. So interpreting how the candidate answers it or assessing that candidate is pretty darn easy. Plus, all the different proctoring tools are built right into Discover, so these people can actually take it at home, and we know with a high degree of confidence that they didn't cheat, right? So there's a couple of different types of tests. The first one I talk about is the super niche or high-skilled roles. AI is fantastic at helping you create those if you follow the 3 steps that we're going to discuss. The other one is great, what I'll call the heartbeat test. Let's just say you're going to hire an entry-level customer service person. You can use AI to create a very specific situational type skill test for your position. And that's just to screen out the looky-loos, the tire kickers. Also to get a sense of how they might deal with particular types of situations that are specific to your business. The last one is multiple skills. I see this a lot, and I'll use this example in marketing people. They need to be sort of a jack of all trades. There's a plethora of different skill sets that are required in most marketing roles. So I can create a 5 modules for each skill set, and I can assess them across a wide variety of different abilities or experiences or skills in that particular situation. So those are the main use cases that we're using it in. And why is it so important? Well, number one, it helps us automate hiring. I received 700 applicants the other day for an tax and accounting associate out of India. It's overwhelming. We've received those in under 2 weeks, and we were able to create specific multi-channel skill tests for exactly what this person will be doing day in and day out. So we weren't asking questions that didn't matter to the client or the role that was being in there. There are a lot of different types of accountants. Accountants have experience with SAP or NetSuite, but we needed them to be experts in QuickBooks. And sometimes that can be difficult to understand. We're able to receive applicants, instantly auto-reply, ask them to complete these short skill tests, and that quickly narrowed our field down to the folks that we had the highest level of confidence in. That's drastically reducing our time to fill, because then we knew who we wanted to move quickly with. We just asked those candidates to self-schedule a Zoom call. They did a Zoom call with the hiring manager, and boom, they made an offer, and they went on to a 2-week trial employment and make the final commitment to each other after that. It saves the hiring manager's time. So if you have an HR person or an admin or maybe even a recruiter, hopefully your recruiter is skilled at what they're doing, but oftentimes they don't have experience with these really hyper specialized skill sets. They may not really truly understand the craft of the person that they're recruiting. So all they can do is rely on what they see on the resume and what the candidate is telling them. These skill tests will give the recruiter a tool to be able to help evaluate this candidate prior to sending them along to the hiring manager, who has a very limited amount of time. And ultimately, it helps you improve the quality of hire. And anybody knows somebody who's made a hire, they were super excited to bring that person on board, only to find a month or 2 later that this person is underwhelming in their ability to do core functions of the job because they lack those skill sets that are needed to be successful. This is why we need to be taking this more seriously. We do all this work for our clients. Our hiring coaches help engineer this, but I'm going to show you how you can do this yourself. So there's 3 things that you need to do. 1, you need to do job analysis. You really need to sit down with the hiring manager, the person this reports to, and their peers, other people in this role, and really start asking a lot of questions about what they do, how they do it, what skills they use, and how frequently they're using these skills. So that helps you create kind of a skill cluster and helps you prioritize which skills are the most frequently used. We begin to stack rank the different skill sets that are absolutely critical for success. So we can focus in on the 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5 different skill sets versus the 27 different skills that ultimately somebody's going to need to excel. Job analysis then gets turned into a job description. Job descriptions should be focused on OKRs and KPIs, so objectives and key results, the why behind the role. How does this role solve problems for the client, help the company accomplish its key missions? And that further helps us get that clarity around the skill sets and competencies that the person's going to need to be able to bring to the table, and allows us to laser focus in and say the top 5 versus 35 things that we think that person might need. Once we've created the job description, we need to create a candidate scorecard. That is the amalgamation of the job analysis and the job description. That is the narrowing of the top skills, experiences, qualities, and competencies that person needs. Once we have all that clearly well defined, we can simply dump all that right into ChatGPT and then ask for a skill test. So I'm going to show an example of how we created this for a blockchain developer. And I know nothing about blockchain developers, so check this out. First thing I did is I just threw in the job description. Now this job description was not well written. It did not describe OKRs or KPIs or give really clear description of the skill sets or the requirements for the role. So I didn't get a fantastic result back. I could actually use ChatGPT to help me create the job analysis. I asked it, what would you suggest? I need to create a blockchain developer. How would you make sure that they're really skilled enough to do the job? And it went through exactly what I would recommend from an interviewing process. So technical interview, coding challenges, code review, pair programming, project-based assessments, soft skills assessments, culture fit, all of these are fantastic. So since I didn't know anything, I just asked, what are the blockchain and block programming languages, tools, and best practices? And this is where I got the gold. So this is essentially a job analysis without actually analyzing people in the job and asking all the questions. From here, I grabbed each item on this list, starting with the first one. And I asked it to create a skill-based test, a 5-question test, because I obviously have a lot of facets, a lot of things that I need to measure here. And I did this for every single role. And I shared this with a friend of mine who's an expert blockchain developer, and he was blown away. He was like, this is basically spot on. It's a great way to screen this person and just check for their basic and advanced understanding of everything involved with being great at blockchain development. The next interview is an in-depth interview, but I don't want to spend my time having to review somebody's project who can't even get past first base. So this was a great beginning point before we got into the more time and labor and cost-intensive evaluation tools. So here's a little snippet on how we create custom skill tests using AI, and we deliver them through Discover. In our next videos, I'm going to share with you the best #1 interview strategy for making sure you never make a bad hire again. It all comes back to speaking to their past direct supervisors. Check out our video on how to never make a bad hire again and the single most important interview question, and we'll see you in the next one.